A lot of California Democrats said to me over the last couple of days, well, why the hell are we doing things that are fair? And if Republicans are going to play hardball, like, why should we be squeaky clean and all good government if Republicans are going to play a completely different game?
Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchable News. It's Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, the plot thickens. Democrats look to get into the redistricting game. Number two, Trump's rescission package passed the Senate. Say that 3 times fast. Will Democrats play hardball when it comes to government funding? That's the big question. And number three, Crypto Week lives on. All right, Jake, there is a jam-packed AM edition. I encourage everyone to subscribe, to read it, because we can only hit the highlights here because there's just so much in it. But let's go to the top. You wrote this along with Ali Mutnick, a terrific item about how Democrats are in California huddled, talking about, well, hey, if the Republicans can redistrict in Texas and help themselves out, why can't we do it in the great state of California?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of reasons why it's going to be very difficult for House Democrats from California, but let's talk about this. They plan to squeeze between 5 and 7, an incredibly ambitious view, seats in the state of California, and this would be to offset Texas. Texas is going for a similar number in Texas, really between 2 and 5, but they've now settled on 5 based on President Trump pushing them. So what California is trying to do is offset Texas. This is just another example of that California-Texas rivalry of sorts. You'll remember Texas has taken a lot of California jobs. That's a side note, not really operative here, but it's these are 2 of the biggest and most important states in America. This is going to be, and we are so lucky that Ali Mutnick works at Punchable News because she understands the redistricting stuff way better than most people, certainly better than I do. I mean, I understand what redistricting is, but I don't understand the maps as well as she does. But this is going to shape the 2026 midterms. I mean, if you're changing maps, if Texas has, 5 new competitive seats, California has between, 5 and 7, most likely 6 new Democratic seats to offset, put Republicans in a tough spot. This is going to change. As Ali says, it's a brazen political gamble. It's going to change the nature of the midterm elections.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's really interesting here, though, is this is being driven from the White House in terms of Texas. Texas Republicans didn't want to do this, right? We've been writing about this for the last couple of weeks. And what is interesting to me is that Democrats are starting to think about how to play hardball, right?
Yep.
Okay, if Republicans are going to do this, it wasn't like, oh, they thought they should do a redistricting. And it's challenging in California. We get really into that in the item. I don't think we have to right here about there's an independent commission and the different ways that Gavin Newsom, the governor, could try to approach this, whether or not there would be a legal challenge, which I'm sure there would be.
Of course.
It just, to me, I think the kind of bare knuckles politics that is going to go into the midterm election is on display right now.
Yeah. We could just say that, Newsom is a possible presidential candidate, obviously, but the independent commission, which was put into place more than a decade ago, was to make sure the maps were fair. And a lot of California Democrats said to me over the last couple of days, well, why the hell are we doing things that are fair? And if Republicans are going to play hardball, like, why should we be squeaky clean and all good government if Republicans are going to play a completely different game? And that's the
It reminds me of super PACs, Jake,
For sure.
Democrats were so slow to get into the game because bad money for a long time. The ethos was big money was bad, but they all of a sudden saw Republicans were kicking their butts at raising money and the ability to use soft money that they all of a sudden had to get better at that game too. And so it feels a little bit like they're just playing catch up here.
Let me just say one quick thing here. The thing that we have to keep in mind, and I want to just talk a second about the map. One thing we have to keep in mind is if they do this, people who have been winning with 60% of the vote, Democrats who have been winning with 60% of the vote or more, will have to go down to having competitive races too, right? So if you're somebody who has not raised a lot of money because you didn't have to, and you were comfortably winning in some of these blue districts in California, you're going to be at a 52%, 53%, because you're giving away some of your Democratic voters. And I'll just say this: the seats that are at most risk are Ken Calvert, who represents Palm Springs, already in a very difficult race in Riverside County in the Palm Springs area, and David Valadeo and Daryl Issa. Valadeo is in the Central Valley. Issa is in San Diego. They're going to go after them too. And then there's a bunch of issues about the Voting Rights Act and some of these majority minority districts and some of these court drawn or court mandated districts. So a very complicated jigsaw puzzle, which they're going to have to figure out soon. And I'll say this just on top of it: California Democrats in the House want to have a say in drawing these districts because they're going to have to bring out, if this goes to a public ballot initiative in, there's a chance that Gavin Newsom, the governor, is going to have to put this on the ballot sometime in the fall to allow this redistricting. And if Democrats are going to win that, they're going to need the congressional delegation, A, to bring out their voters, B, to spend some money. And then so California Democrats are like, well, we need to have a say in these maps. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic.
But I'll say this, and we'll leave it here. I had this quote by Mark Takano, the Democrat from California, who would be in line to chair the House Veterans Affairs Committee, says of the effort, "We want our gavels back. That's what this is about, a clear move to try to regain power." One quick thing we can't forget, Jake, it was a big night on Capitol Hill with our community. Punchbowl News was really proud to be supportive and sponsor the Congressional Women's Softball game. The lawmakers broke the press team's 2-year winning streak last night as the Congressional team beat the Bad News Babes 5-3. Our very own Mika Solner played on the press team. Was a really fun night to be out watching on Audi Field some women's softball. It's always a really fun evening. So congrats to the members of Congress, and we'll get them next time, the women's softball press team. All right, Jake, let's go to the number 2 story of the morning. Senate Republicans passed President Donald Trump's $9 billion rescissions package. And now the question tees up pretty neatly. What will Democrats do? They have been threatening, saying, you know what, if Republicans pass rescissions, we're going to have to change our tactics. What does that mean for the appropriations process? Are we headed towards a shutdown? All of these things are really going to be top of mind here going into the rest of July, into August and September, as the Senate tries to move fast on some of these funding bills.
Yeah, it passed. Mitch McConnell ended up voting for the package after opposing some of the procedural motions. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski joined all Democrats in opposing the measure. Collins is the chair of the Appropriations Committee. Lisa Murkowski is from Alaska and has said she doesn't understand the cuts, and she was opposed to the public broadcasting cuts. And ironically, Anna, there was a big earthquake or a tsunami, I believe, yesterday in Alaska, a big weather event, and she tweeted or posted on X, whatever it's called now, that the citizens of the areas that were affected by this event learned about it from public broadcasting.
Yeah.
It was ironic that this happened on that same day.
It puts a fine point on the issue, right? That it isn't just in the abstract.
For her state, it does. We are now 70-something days away from the government funding deadline. It's July 17th. We've got like another week or two in session here, and then it's August, and people will go home and do what they have to do. We come back in September, and we've got like 30 days left or less. And then you have a week off in September for the Jewish holidays, and for, one of the weeks is just a recess week because of the holidays. Here's where we are. And even Mike Rounds of South Dakota, not North Dakota, your state, they said it'd be better long-term if Democrats felt like they had an opportunity to argue, work back and forth, and still get a 60-vote approval for a final product coming through appropriations. It's too early to say whether this has truly spoiled the pot, the pie. Do pies get spoiled? But anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll have to see if this actually impacts government funding in September. I'm not skeptical. I don't know. And House Majority Leader Steve Scalise has said this, has noticed that this might come up this afternoon in the House of Representatives. But we're going to get to, the House is going to have a big day today because they are, after just a complete train wreck of a crypto week. It's Thursday. They've not voted on one bill yet, so it's going to be crypto day instead of crypto week.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it. The number 3 story of the morning: crypto's Congress crash out. That is the headline that we are leading Punchbowl News AM's item on this. Speaker Mike Johnson making history here. First, you had the reconciliation vote, the longest open vote in the House's history, but crypto It is now holds that record for the longest House vote in history after a nearly 10-hour standoff over crypto policy late Wednesday night. Uh, wow, it is just kind of dysfunction in the House until it works, right? I mean, it's not pretty, it's not elegant, but they seem to be able to keep kind of pushing forward, plodding forward, and finally getting the votes here on something that didn't seem like it was going to be quite this difficult.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. They've now set another record for the longest vote in Congress history. Yesterday, a rule vote was open for like, I don't know, a bunch of 8 hours, seven, I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah.
even make a difference. It was open for a long time. The big issue yesterday, and this has been solved, a 10-hour standoff is what Brendan says, but Crypto Week lives on. Big issue was the HFC cut a deal with Donald Trump, the president. No one else was bought into it. And this was over whether how the sequencing of the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, the Market Structure Bill, and the anti-CBDC, the central bank digital currency. This was we don't need to get into all the policy here, but basically conservatives again got nothing. They wanted to combine these bills. Clarity and Genius will ride separately, and CBDC will end up in the NDAA, where it has no guarantee of becoming law, because the NDAA has a zillion provisions in it, and this could easily get knocked out. So what did they get? I don't know. Johnson said he hopes the Senate keeps it in. We'll see. I don't know what will happen. And I'll say a few things here. HFC is just. I don't want to say lost, but they've got to figure out what they stand for, and where they pick fights, and how they wage these fights, and how to win these fights, how to win, how to get an actual change. They wanted these crypto bills combined, and they missed the boat on that. That was a debate weeks ago. They could have won that debate if they got engaged weeks ago, but they didn't. And then they put the leadership in this position late in the day. But the leadership isn't blameless here. Why did they go to the floor if they knew they had problems? Why did the White House staff allow the president to cut a deal with the HFC without any buy-in from committees, from financial services, from ag, both of which have jurisdiction over crypto? This is below the IQ of, I think, the leadership for sure, and the floor IQ of the leadership to put this on the floor, and below the IQ of the White House staff to let the president cut this deal without buy-in, and the leadership is not blameless here either. So you know what?
A lot of blame to go around, Jake. Just doling it out left and right this morning.
Crypto Week is going to turn into Crypto Day here. And I'll say this, for all the sway that crypto says they have in DC, this was a complete mess. And they'll say, well, we got it done in the end. I understand. This should have been done in like a day, and it wasn't.
All right. Hey, before we let you go, I do want to give a heads up. We have our second feature in the Creator Economy series we are doing. And Jake, this is a company that everybody will know. We are featuring a conversation about Dude Perfect.
Yes. I don't know about everybody, but if you're on YouTube and you are frequenting the YouTube creator game, which is, man, it's a world. There's a lot of views on these videos. Not as many views as the people that watch the Daily Punch, but whatever.
Hey, they strive, but yeah.
They get hundreds of thousands within like minutes. But yes, Dude Perfect, a big player, massive player in the online creator space. And it was awesome that we got to talk to the man behind Dude Perfect,
the CEO, Andrew Yaffe. So encourage you to check that out. You can go to punchbowl.news. As always, hey, thanks so much for listening, watching. We appreciate it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Punchbowl News. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.